Hi everybody, it's Vivian and Ha again, and thank you so much to join our show today. Today we have Miss Nicole. Hello, Nicole,
Hello,
our
hello.
Hello,
special
Vivian. Hello,
guest.
Gloria. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for joining. Yeah, thank you so much, Nicole, for
Yeah,
giving us a
I'm,
chance talking to you. Yeah. To start off, would you please share with us about yourself, Nicole?
yes, so I'm delighted to be here and spend this time with you. And my name is Nicole Heimann. I'm the co-CEO of Heimann Svetkovic and Partners, and also a board member in the Woolens Heimann and Friends Foundation. Um, I'm an award-winning executive coach, so I coach CEOs, executive teams, and boards on their authentic leadership and on working together as true leadership alliances to leave a footprint in this world, be it on a social or an environmental impact, leave a legacy. And I'm also the author of the book, How to Develop the Authentic Leader in You. And I love to speak on the topic of authenticity, authentic leadership, and leadership alliances.
wow.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the very beautiful introduction. And it's too short, so we're gonna need to dive into it a little bit more, so we will have a better understanding of Nicole. Okay.
Okay.
So, um, when we were young, Vivian wanted to become a singer, and she did not become one. I wanted to become an astronaut. I did not become one either. All right. So I would like to know when you were young, Nicole, what did you dream when you grow up? What kind of job you're gonna do? What kind of things that you're gonna contribute to this beautiful planet Earth? Can you share with us?
Yeah, sure. So when I was young, I never defined it exactly, but I always said I want to work with people.
Mm.
And I guess the profession of coach at that time didn't exist yet.
Mm.
So, but I knew I wanted to work with people, and when I told my parents that I wanted to study psychology, they didn't think this was a good idea. So I did the business to business marketing instead, and started to work in the chemicals company. Had a great career, and I really loved the work there. Then had a change in my life that my husband back then was offered a job to move to Switzerland. And with this move, I gave up my own job and went with, in the meantime, I had become pregnant, had the first baby. So I went with a 3-week-old baby to Switzerland and without a job. So I tried and did really my best to be a housewife and gloriously failed. So I've always found a lot of meaning in work, and I've always loved to work. And I love my children dearly, but I also needed that fulfillment that work is giving us.
Mm.
And that was the point in my life where I asked myself the question, well, what am I going to do? Work with people was clear, but now in a different way. So I wanted to combine the business experience that I had built up in the chemicals industry with something psychological. So I started to look for practical, psychologically based models to build up a business. And the first or the model that I came across was the process communication model by Dr. Tevi Kahler, clinical psychologist. And I explored that. I did the trainer course, got licensed in it. And that's really how I started up my business in Switzerland. So with a dream of a vision to combine my practical experience with something that helps people to better work together. One certification, and that was the start. Yeah.
Nicole, back then you also have a choice to join corporations and be a consultant, be whatever it is, and you still can work with people. You can still contribute to the success of the organization and their organizations also. But you chose to do it solo on your own, and start your own company. What courage did you give to yourself back then to start from scratch like that in the new country, and everything was new for you back all the way back then, right?
Yes. It was. It's true. So I moved country. So I had no network here. I had no family around, no friends. You have to build that all up when you move. And then starting a business with starting from scratch. No, I had no experience in the coaching or training industry before. What made me make that step is a strong belief. So I had this vision, I had this dream, and my father had always told me that his grandmother always told him that a Heimann can do anything they want to.
Wow.
So my father had instilled in me a very powerful belief from when I was a little kid that I could do anything I wanted to, because that's what his grandmother has told him, and he told me, and I have been telling the same thing to my children and to all the clients that I coach. The limitations are only between our two ears. We impose our own limitations to ourselves. So when I started up my business, it was a decision. It was a decision, and I knew this was going to work because I was going to make it work.
Wow.
So there was no plan B.
Because whatever the Heimann said to do, the Heimann will achieve that, right?
Yes.
It's a beautiful, what a beautiful thing that parents can transfer to the next generation by instilling to their head the seed of belief like that, where a lot of people out there,
Yes.
have a limiting belief. If we can all give to our children, the people around us, the strength, from within for them to try and be the best version of themselves is so beautiful. So all the credit give back to your father for instilling that to you,
Yes.
Nicole, right?
Yes. Very grateful. Very grateful. Yeah.
Well, one of the guests came to my show and to our show actually. Sorry, Vivian, and they say that when you're in on the, people can see the top of the mountain, all the accomplishment that you are right now having, but they will never know the path that it took you, given that you have the strength in the belief and everything. So it's never a straight direction from A to Z like that, but it's everywhere, right? So can you share with us how the journey from that point and that creating, and how that journey been for you, the good, the bad, and the hard and the great experience that you got?
Yeah. So maybe first, I don't consider myself to be at the top of the mountain. My journey is not finished yet. So I know there's these beautiful awards for which I'm super grateful, and it was never something I went after or aspired. It is something that came at one point as a recognition, which I'm very grateful for. At the same time, it's really all about the journey. If I look back when I started 20 years ago, I believe that if I look at my journey of independence, we get exactly those clients for which we are ready and that are ready for us. And it is a journey of growth. So with each client, things got more, or the complexity increased, the challenges increased, and you grow into it as a coach. The work I'm doing now, I have not started there 20 years ago. It is the result of a journey of growth, of each time facing new challenges, mastering new challenges, finding new solutions, discovering new waves, also of a continuous investment in myself. So every year I have chosen something to explore myself, to learn, and whether it is a new coaching certification or a meditation retreat, or there's so many ways that we can increase our self-awareness and learn. And so that also has been part of the journey. So continuous learning. I believe that if we as coaches don't grow anymore or don't invest in our own growth anymore, it is the beginning of the end. So only when we grow, the clients that come to you, with which you build this amazing partnership, they are different ones because of the growth, the inner growth that is reflected in your outer field. So the investment in growth, I would say, is super important. And then when opportunities knock at the door, say yes. That is another thing. Don't say, well, the timing is not right, or yes, maybe in 6 months. It's no, when opportunity knocks, you are ready. It's important to say yes, and even if you don't know yet how you will do it, it will emerge on the journey.
Nicole, you work with a lot of CEOs, a lot of executive members, a lot of board members, and those are the people that make important decisions. Those are the people that have a very high power of decision making, and a lot of us out there frightened to even talk to them but how do you build the confidence to get into the door and sit there and help them to grow? Can you share with us?
Yes. So first of all, we are all human beings. We are all human beings. We are not our titles. And our titles, they give us authority, they give us a certain responsibility, and they give us power. So in the work I do on authentic leadership, it's so important to know who we are if we are not that title. Who am I if I am not the CEO? Who am I if I am not the expert? And the confidence for us as coaches comes from knowing who you are. And I believe that is one of the most important aspects, that we have to explore our own consciousness. We have to explore in depth who we are. When fear comes up because of a title, because a leader is a CEO or a VP, this is not the essence of who you are at work. This is the ego at work. And ego always diminishes our power. Because then we start to doubt ourselves. So to avoid doubting ourselves, we too have to do the inner work and explore and deeply know who we are at the core of our being.
Thanks, Nicole. I guess that not only you help them to figure out who they are, you help them to leave the legacy.
Yes.
Help them to grow something for community. So would you please share with us how that journal has been? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm very passionate about that, Vivian. It's so if we do the exploration of who we are, we discover that sometimes we have disconnected from parts inside of us. And when we disconnect, let's say we have disconnected from our heart, we don't want to feel, or we think the heart should stay at home, it's on. There's no place for that in business. Or we have disconnected from the body. Some people don't feel and listen to their bodies. So there's so many disconnects that we can have. When we are disconnected on the inside, we see a world that is disconnected. So this directly influences the way we see the world. So when we then do the work on our authenticity, and the way I work is with a process of integration, integrating what I call the 7 dimensions of leadership. So when we become an integrated leader again, and when we have restored that connection, because everything is inside of us, it is a matter of becoming aware and restoring the connections. When we are integrated again, we have leaders that also see an integrated world. And these are the leaders that we need today, because I don't need to go through the list of all the problems we have in the world. If I name one, the whole climate change problem, it's a huge one. It is because leaders are not seeing or refuse to see the connections, how everything is connected. We need leaders who are able to see the connections, who are able to see the impact of their actions, the impact of their decisions. And we also need to bring back love in leadership.
Wow.
Because if we don't love ourselves, if we don't love the people we lead, if we don't love the company we work for, if we don't love this beautiful earth on which we are living, how are leaders ever going to create a better world and a world that is much more sustainable?
Wow.
And it starts again with the inner work. It starts with self-love. If self-love is not restored, why would somebody who doesn't even love him or herself take decisions for a better world?
Nicole, when we were young, right, we all have the authenticity within us, you know. We think, we act, we behave, we share. Everything is very authentic. So, but then when we start to growing up further and further, that diminishes. That authenticity diminishes, and then and then what happened to us? How can we stop that diminishing to happen, and so we can, as authentic as we could be from the child up until we growing old?
Yeah, I think when we are born fully authentically. We are love, we are in our essence. And then life happens. We have society, we have the school system, we have our parents, we have important people in our lives. And from then we are continuously conditioned and being told you are not good enough, you need to be like this, or you are not worthy. So we get a lot of conditions imposed by society that we need to fulfill to be seen as worthy. And that is where the problem starts. So we take the message that we think or believe or feel unworthy. And we confuse all these conditions with who we are at our core, and that is love in consciousness.
So Nicole, how can we? Yes, please go ahead. And what?
Yes, and that's where the inner work starts. I think we all become aware at one point that that this isn't me. Or we start to feel or become aware of some kind of inner conflict, that the way I'm feeling on the inside is not who I'm showing on the outside. And if we're lucky, there comes an inner hunger that puts then people on the path of searching and doing the inner work that is needed to get back on track.
There's an old saying say that the hardest thing for us to know is know oneself, or know ourselves. And I can sit down for many nights and asking the question, Vivian, who are you? And hi, who am I? And things like that, without having a good answer for that, Nicole. So if we want to find out those kind of answer, what are the baby steps should Vivian, should me, and the audience of the program to start taking now for us to figure out the inner world that been disconnected, and we want to reintegrate that again, Nicole?
I think there's different paths of doing the inner work, and there's the path of coaching. Some people reach out to a coach. Others might go to a meditation retreat, or or others find it in nature. Sometimes it's a book you read that triggers your thinking and exploring and going deeper. Today there's podcasts or shows like yours that inspire people. So I think there's a whole broad range of where to start available within reach for really everybody who wants it. And I think the important thing is to start. To explore. Yeah. Whatever it is, whatever is calling, it can be different for everyone.
Nicole, I want to bring you back to the point because I'm just curious. There's a lot of things that people are needing help with. There's a lot of things that you can focus on helping the leaders to become better version of themselves every day. You chose to be an expert in the space of authenticity, and when did that seed happen to you from the inside, that you had the burning desire of wanting to know more about that and trying to be an expert on that space?
So maybe my goal was never to become an expert. It's seriously, I've always followed my passion and what I was really passionate about. And when I started writing the book, how to develop the authentic leader in you. It was because I was doing the coaching work and people were often asking me, how do you do it? How do you bring people back in touch with the core of who they are? And I did not have like a clear answer. I had to think about it because when I thought about it, the way I did it was different with every client. It was not a one way. It depended on the client, on where they come from. So I started to write down all the various doors I would open to invite people to come back in touch with the essence of who they are. And that is how I discovered the 7 dimensions of leadership intelligence into the work. So my book is really like a reverse engineering research book, where I started with all the experiences and started writing down and going back to all my clients, looking what steps did I take with whom, what worked, and it doesn't matter where we start to work in which dimension. Important is to find the one for the client that he is very open or she is very open and receptive to. Because when we start working in one dimension, it starts influencing the whole. Because everything is connected. It is not, we cannot separate it from each other. So, and it is through writing the book and then starting to talk about it, writing articles about it, that all of a sudden I found out I have an expert status.
How long did it take you to write that book, Nicole?
It took me a year. It took me a year, yes. Because writing a book for me was not like, oh, I have an hour here, I'm quickly going to write. It was sitting in stillness and feeling into it, letting things come, remembering stories, seeing the connections. So it was a year of work.
Yeah. Wow. Nicole, yeah. Vivian and I are on our own passion of finding how people think, because we have the belief that our ability to think these days are diminishing, it's not increasing. So every chance that we have an opportunity to talk to somebody that that works related to a lot of thinking, and they help other people to think also. So we would love to learn the secret sauce from them, so that we can share to others. All right. So the question that we want to ask you now is how Nicole is helping you to expand your ability to think, Nicole?
To expand my ability to think?
Yes.
Let me think. I believe it is through being present. By being in the moment. I would add through feeling. So I would not like to limit the thinking to the cognitive intelligence, but also feel into our heart, feel into the gut, feel into all these centers of intelligence, because the heart has more neurons than the brain. It gives us information too. Feel into the space. What is the information coming from there? And then I like to sit with lots of input and then start to see the connections and take it in scenarios of what if. So if you ask me how do you expand the thinking, I think that is really it. It's by not thinking, by being present, and feeling and listening to the intelligence of others, as I said, of the heart, the gut, the body, the space. Talk with other people, of course, and then let it cook. Sit with it, see the connections, take it into scenarios, and also ask myself, what is the impossible?
What is the impossible?
Because that doesn't exist. Because when I have an answer to that, I need to think more.
No.
And expand. Yeah.
Your life involve a lot of moment of asking, right? Your work also involve a lot of asking. You came to Switzerland as a new country. You ask yourself the question, the big question, what is it that you want to do that can fulfilling, right? And then the whole new career was creating and take it to the different path. And you ask the question, what is that impossible? It's a very big question because impossible is yet happening. So you ask for you to get yourself prepared and get ahead of the winds. So Nicole, if there is one thing that we need to learn how to ask better questions, okay, what would be the advice that you can give to me and Vivian so that we can share with the audience?
In terms of a better question?
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard, like so general.
The general, yes, it's okay.
But it depends. It depends where you want to go.
So how do you want to go?
It's always good. What is always good is to challenge ourselves or ask ourselves, is the question I'm asking an intelligent question? Because, for instance, sometimes we sabotage ourselves with our questions. Why can't I do this? Then the brain will find hundreds answers of why I can't.
Yep.
So questioning our own questions and creating a lot of awareness around it is highly recommended.
Wow.
What is the better question to ask? Or if we take it to the core of existence, every one of us faces the question sometimes, am I enough? It's the wrong question. It would mean when we ask this question that we are questioning our own existence.
Sure.
We shouldn't be doing that. So then the question is, what could be a better question? And if we would ask ourselves, well, how can I contribute even more to whatever, then we will get lots of resourceful ideas of how we can be even more of who we already are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I really love that you said that if we ask the wrong kind of questions, it will sabotage us a lot. I think that Vivian had a question, right? Vivian,
Yeah, I think heart is pretty much into the thinking, and from the listening to your story, I pick out the two most powerful thing is love and connection. I kind of link to the time when you're in Switzerland, new country, new family, and there's a lot of things people can feel, alone or nobody know what I'm going through, and you thrive up from there, with all the new thing happening. So I feel like there's a lot of love during that time you have for your family, for the country that you're in, also for the new career path that you are choosing. Is that something you want to share with us as a woman leadership? I guess that we have a lot of thing to, juggling and handling. Would you please give us some advice, Nicole, for women when we face the situation like this? How do we balance? Yeah.
How do we balance our love and
And to
connection?
yes, yeah.
Oh, that's a big, big question. I think love is a state of being, and we all have it in ourselves. If we define love as our consciousness, a state of being, it becomes also a choice. And life will challenge us. I think life will challenge all of us. We all have our experiences and our stories, and me too. I have been challenged a couple of times in deep, profound ways, with a lot of pain involved. And in each of those situations, I decided to choose love and to never ever give up on love. And taking that conscious decision, I think, is the power. Because if we don't reflect on it and we don't take decisions consciously, we can be like part of the drama. We can be part of a spiral, and it can take us to places that are not so nice to be in. But taking a conscious decision to always default back to love is one of the most powerful decisions I believe we can take. This life is too short to live cut off or disconnected from love.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
And we feel so loved that life gives us the opportunity to meet amazing people around us. You are one of them. You give us a lot of inspirations for us to continue our path to find love and to share that around like you do. And so thanks for leading that, Nicole.
Thank you for your wonderful questions and for having me on your show.
We have one last question, and
yes.
Because we knew that when you were young, you had the passion to work with people. We knew that your father planted it in your head that what the Heimann wants to do, the Heimann will do that, and will do that very, very well, right? And very nice way, you also pass it to the next generation, and you pass it to us also. So we are the one who also feel that love, feel that inspiration. We know the work that you are doing now, helping leaders to to excel and then to do their best so that they can contribute best to the people they lead and the society they serve and the planet Earth that they're living in. I also like to get into the next stage, is a little bit onto the future, Nicole. So is there anything that exciting you are doing now that you want to share with Vivian, with me and the audience, so that we can celebrate with you in advance?
Yes, actually, yes. So as excited I am about my coaching business and the work I do over there, I'm also very excited about the work I'm doing in my board function of our foundation, the Woolens Heimann and Friends Foundation. And there we are building a leadership school for indigenous people in the Amazon, called the Living School of the Amazon. And this is so important work because we are all aware of the climate change. And if you look on a global basis, there is 5% of indigenous people. So they are 5% of the world population, but they take care of 80% of the biodiversity. And there where they have been successfully able to negotiate their regions with the governments, they are able to protect the Amazon much better, and there is significantly less deforestation than in unprotected regions. So what we want to do with the leadership school is really strengthen their leadership so that they can better protect the Amazon, which ultimately is a project for the whole of humanity. And that is something that, I'm just very, very, very passionate about that. And that's what I would like to mention here.
Wow. We wish you have the strength, so that you can continue doing that, do more, and have more influence, have more impact on that, and have more people to join that path to support and grow that, Nicole. So, that's we always admire all the work that you do. So, we thank you for you to spend the afternoon joining our shows and share on your story, the work you do, your passions, and all the beautiful advices you gave it to us. So that tonight we have a lot of things to reflect, to think, and sometimes not even to think, right? Like you say, and then to lean on to our inner self, to that see what is that we can make a baby step of changing. So thanks a lot for joining and sharing the stories with us, Nicole.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole. And I think September is a beautiful month. You just come back from Amazon, but your birthday is coming, and we wish you all the best and all the sweetness.
Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful.
Thanks, Vivian. Happy birthday in advance, Nicole.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a beautiful day. And
Thank you.
if one day your family ever travel to Vietnam, please let Vivian and I know. So we'll be so honored to take you guys around, okay?
Thank you so much. And the same if you guys come to Switzerland.
Absolutely.
You are very, very welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Nicole.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Vivian, too.